Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lit in English, where we meet every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is a journey to understanding your inner self, lit up a path to happiness as whole being. And it is all about understanding yourself. And in that way, we lit up a path where we can truly find happiness in this life. And this is going to be a great one because even though I am the presenter, but I'm simply am a fellow journeyer in this journey. And this season is a very special season to my heart because I have my fellow journeyer from the MA in happiness study going on this journey with us, and they will be able to share their perspective, the Western perspective, so that we can connect this knowledge together. So in that way, this is an extremely special journey. This is literally east meet west, and we will find the middle path to happiness, where you will be much closer to finding your inner self, as well as connected the knowledge that you have accumulate from the past, the present, and possibly the future to the path to happiness. So once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And before I get started, I would like to say my appreciation to you for joining us, as well as my deep appreciation to my mentor, all of the wise men, great thinker in the past that have shared with us their knowledge. And in a way, we are continuing this great understanding of the path to happiness as whole being. So just a quick recap from last week, and then we will move to today's presentation on the transformation principle, which is the last principle in the Big Four principle. And I think today is going to be a great one. So during the conversation, feel free to type your question in the chat, and then feel free to raise your hand and interact, share your the I am, something you find interesting, actionable, and meaningful. And let's have a great conversation today, because for the end of the presentation, I would love to connect all four of the principle. And I do, like personally, I do believe that if you spend some time thinking about the four principle and the six barrier in life, you will be able to lift up your barriers, and you will be able to accomplish any dream that you have, and literally any dream. So just a quick preview, recall to last week's presentation. The last week's presentation was about the third principle, activate your human brain. And in the activating of the human brain, we borrow a study on the triune brain. And in this way, we can view the philosophy of it, the spirituality of it, as well as the science view of it. So as you know, there are three main views, which are philosophy, spirituality, and science. And for me, like personally, I believe that if there is some knowledge that widely accept all around the world, then there must be some truth to it. So in the triune brain, we learn about the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and the human brain, borrowing the evolution theory. So in that way, we've learned that our brain has been developed for thousands and thousands, if not millions of years. And the reptilian brain is very good at survival. And that is the reason it's based on fear. So fear is not necessarily to be a bad thing, because fear can help you survive. It is the fight or flight state that introduced in psychology. So through fear, you're gonna make that quick decision to survive. So the reptilian brain is the dominant one because we have to survive before we can do anything else. Because of that, when information comes to us, right, automatically the reptilian brain in our mind will analyze to see if it is good for our survival or if it is not. If it is good for our survival, it will continue to move to the next brain, that is the mammalian brain. And the mammalian brain is very good with love. That's how we take care of ourselves, our family, and our community. So when the information comes to the mammalian brain, it will recognize and it will see if the information will bring positive emotion or negative emotion. If it is positive emotion, if everything is good for yourself, your community, then the information will continue to move to the human brain. And the human brain is very good with seeing vision, and it's going to analyze to see if that vision is good for the future or if that information is bad for the future, and the human brain will make that adjustment. Now, this is extremely, extremely powerful because this is literally the ability to foresee based on the information that we have in the present and based on the information that we have in the past. The human brain will be able to see the future. Now, I'm not saying this as predicting because I literally say that it is seeing the future, and it will make adjustment in the present so that the future, the positive future, will materialize. If the human brain can predict that there is something bad that will happen if we continue and on this path, then it allow us to make adjustment. It will kick back to the mammalian brain to see why is the vision is negative, and why did it bring out this image, and then it's continued to analyze to see if that emotion, right, gonna be positive or negative. If the emotion is negative about that future vision, then it will kick back another lower layer to the reptilian brain to make sure that it can analyze the information to ensure the survival of the future. And the main reason for this triune brain, so it can help us learn how to activate our human brain. Now, the way that the reptilian brain developed is that it figured out a way to survive. So it no longer have to worry about fear. Similarly, the mammalian brain learn how to love, learn how to cultivate positive emotion, and it will activate the mammalian brain, and it will kind of like get an upgrade to the human brain. Now, learning what we've learned from the past and by making an observation of nature, we realize that there is a almost like an enlightenment principle. So there are 3 steps that we do in order to activate our brain, and that is lesson, deep understanding, enlightenment. And last week, Giovanni put this beautifully in the triangle of philosophy, religion, and science. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a piece of paper, but what Giovanni said is that the new lesson here is kind of linked with science, because science gives us lesson, deep understand. That kind of linked with the philosophy view, because deep thinker that love deep understanding. And as far as enlightenment go, definitely very spiritual, very religious. So we can see that these 3 parts help develop the brain. And we can see the parallel here for the reptilian brain and the mammalian brain, because the reptilian is figured out how to survive, right? It can, let's say for the lizard, it can change color in order to hide from danger. But the mammalian, they learn to live together. They learn to live in a pack so that they can increase their survival chance, and they can build their relationship among each other. So as far as human go, we need to do we need to follow the similar principle in order to activate the human brain. So each day, right, we have to be thankful to the opportunity to live and learn. It is important for us to learn the lesson, have deep understanding, and find enlightenment each and every day. And when we do that, we will be able to activate the human brain, and it's likely to help us grow, help us evolve into something very, very, very special. And there is no name for the fourth one yet, even though there are many, many descriptions in the world through thousands and thousands of years, different culture, different teaching has different name first. Some people call it God, some people call it the source, some people call it nature, but we know that there is an evolution, there is an upgrading through our understanding. And my hope is that through this four principle and the sixth barrier, we will be able to activate this fourth brain. I know it's a lot to take in, but my hope is that we will be able to have a great discussion toward the end of today in order to tie all of it together. So without further ado, let's move on to the fourth principle, and that is the transformation principle. And once again, thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully you'll get to hear more from your point of view, your perspective in a little bit. All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I'm super energetic today, but hopefully you are as excited as I am. All right, so the transformation principle, let's start with writing the word transformation to start out. Extremely important. So transform. Mation. Well, that is a big word, but to keep it simple, it just means that it is about change, right? So in our life, we went through many, many periods of change. We went through many, many periods of transformation, whether we like it or not. So in the past, I used to think that I haven't changed at all, because somehow I have a really good memory and I can connect my thinking way back when I was 2 years old, a little bit less than 2 years old. And I often tell myself that I have not changed. I'm still the same man. And not until recently, I realized I have changed a lot. I became a much better person. So all of us, we all have this transformation. The question is, how can we be more in control of our transformation? How can we transform toward the goal that we actually want to accomplish, right? So I would like to borrow a story of one of my friends back in college, and he used to be super super overweight, weighed like 300 pounds, and his name is Jack, by the way. So Jack is a Cambodian American. So at the age of 18, he just got tired of it, right? Because he couldn't get any girlfriend, he couldn't play sport. So he make up his mind that, you know what, I'm getting tired of being overweight. And he started to get into training, weightlifting. And he studied how to eat properly, how to exercise right. And within a matter of a year, he has made a transformation from 200-pound person. He got his weight down to, I think, around 200. And his body fat percentage is at like 10%. He is look like a freaking model, literally, because he's pretty high. I think he's like 5'10", and pretty much muscle all around. Look super, super fit. And he is very proud of that. So that is one example of transformation, right? And on the other spectrum, there's another friend of mine. It's actually a friend of my cousin. I used to play poker with him. Very, very smart guy, super, super good looking. But after his girlfriend dumped him, right? He went into a depression and he started to eat a lot. So from 180 pounds, he gained, I think, like 60 or 80 pounds, become very, very chubby. And I couldn't even recognize him after a year that I last played poker with him. So transformation is went both way. The question is, how can we be more conscious about transformation? And the principle of transformation will help us get there. So in order to understand our transformation, we need to understand that we need to understand the process. So I would like to write the word understanding right underneath. Understand. And because it is a process, let's just go ahead and write the word understanding. All right. And in order to reach this understanding, we gotta get to a period called enlightenment. Enlightenment is a moment where you have that aha moment where something that you have been questioning for a very long time, all of a sudden you realize why does it work that way. It's also like understanding the principle that we introduced here. And thanks to my mentor and the expert, I has becoming uh, having much better understanding of this. So let's just go ahead and write the word and enlightenment and light. And we can have discussion on all of this right now. And just try to write down this first, and then we can discuss it further. All right. Now, down here is the important. Here is the important part because obviously all of us we want to reach certain enlightenment sometime in our life, and we want to have an understanding of how this life works, and we want to have our transformation. But how do we get there? All right. How can we get to transformation? And thanks to my mentor, the process is actually a very, very simple one. In order to get there, we need to ask question. So let's start from the bottom and write the word asking. Asking. Asking the right question is extremely important, but I want to make the differentiation between asking and questioning. So let's go ahead and write the word questioning up here as well. And this is the very, very foundation of this principle. Question. Name. All right, so some of you might ask, why am I making the differentiation between asking and questioning? Isn't asking the same as questioning? The difference is that asking is just you asking a question. So it could be any question, or like, are you going to the gym today? Or what do you want to eat today? Those asking doesn't help you reach enlightenment. Questioning is you are contemplating about something, about the topic. Like how can, in the case of Jack, like how can he become healthier, right? I was going to say lose weight, but obviously his goal wasn't just losing weight. He wanted to look good and he wanted to be fit. So in that way, questioning and asking can make a huge difference. And that is the difference between Jack and my cousin friend. Let's just call him Brandon. I think his name is Brandon, but I wasn't sure. So the difference between Jack and Brandon is the asking and questioning. Jack asked a very important question of how can he be fit, right? And he going toward that path, he going toward that direction, and he was able to lose a lot of fat and gain a tons of muscle and look like a movie star. And that is the focus. So let me find a really good coloring pen. Questioning, there will be a positive questioning, positive, and questioning can be negative as well. Negative. So in the case of Brandon, when his ex-girlfriend broke up with him, he instead of leaning toward the positivity, he leaned into a comfort in negativity. He eat a lot, and he didn't try to better himself. He didn't see the benefit of just getting out of a bad relationship, right? So he spiraling down to a really really bad place, and comparing the difference between the two, we can understand the transformation principle much better. And the transformation principle tell us something very, very simple, that the transformation that we have in life, the very root of it is the question that we ask ourselves, right? And leaning that to the previous principle, activating the human brain, we can see the parallel here, okay, of how there is a spiraling up movement of the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, the human brain, by leaning toward positivity, right? So I know it sounds very, very simple because this is how nature works itself, this is how the universe moves. But often we forget about the importance of leaning toward positivity. And I would like to connect this back to the principle of light as well, because everything is interconnected. All of this principle work very, very well together. And in this, we can apply the principle of light into this transformation principle, because leaning toward asking a positive question, we are applying the principle of light into it, right? We want to be proactive. In the case of Jack, he, instead of trying to get darkness out of the room, instead of trying to, I guess, lose weight, he is bring the light in by exercising, by eating right. And thanks to that, he make a very, very positive transformation. And in the case of Brandon, he went against the principle where he tried to get the darkness out of the room and tried to understand why he was in such a bad position, and that spiraling down. Okay. And the core of this principle, and I would like to repeat again because it is super, super important, that is asking the right question, or we questioning things in life positively. An example that my mentor often like to use is, um, you know how like when children uh, watch TV, they like to sit really, really close to the TV. And that is bad for their eyes, right? And parents, we often are very quick on protecting our children. So many parents would say, you know what, you need to sit farther away from the TV or your eyes will go bad. And that is a very logical way of asking, right? It is a very logical way of questioning. But if you're thinking about it deeply, then it doesn't sound right, because what you want for the child is to have good eyesight, not a bad one. So by saying that sit far away, and if you don't do that, your eye will go bad, then automatically in your mind, you already see the bad image, you already see the bad outcome. And that question would be negative, right? It's come from a good place, it's come from a place of love, but the asking, questioning is is negative. And there are many, many cases the eyesight actually went bad just because the parent had that thought and they keep repeating that image to the children. Now, a better way to rephrase the questioning is you can tell your daughter, for example, like, hey, you should sit farther away from the TV so your eyes can be good, right? So you can maintain your 20/20 vision, which is the perfect vision. And that is how we can make the differentiation between positive questioning and negative questioning. It is very, very special. And let's continue to borrowing the story of Jack. Okay. And earlier, remember, I was gonna say Jack was trying to lose weight, and he did. In the beginning, he was trying to lose weight because he had a lot of extra fat, right? 300 pounds, 5'10" Cambodian American person. So that is pretty heavy. So in the beginning, he was just trying to lose weight, and it was working for him, but it doesn't work as good as he wanted it to be. And then something changed, right? Something very different happened because he got a professional trainer, and the professional trainer tell him that it is not just about losing weight. It is about being fit, being healthy, being strength, being stronger. So Jack went along with the training, and he leaning more toward how to get more muscle and burn fat at the same time. But most importantly, his questioning after working with the coach is that how can I be fit? All right. Can you see the shift here between the positive and the negative? In the beginning, he just wanted to lose weight. And that is a negative questioning, because losing weight doesn't help him become fit and strong, right? It's just losing fat. And in training, when you don't train properly or when you don't eat properly, you can lose your muscle as well. You might weaken your body, and the end result is not good. And that's why many, many people didn't get to the goal that they wanted to get to. But in this way, just by asking a very, very simple question, just by shifting perspective, Jack was able to get a lot more than he originally wanted. And that is not only losing fat, but he was gaining muscle. His body shaped to be like a movie star, literally. So questioning here is the key principle to get to the transformation that you want. Now, as far as happiness go, because this is understanding your inner self, lit up a path to happiness as whole being. There's another lesson that I have learned from my dear professor, Dr. Taban Sahar, in one of his interview with My Valley, and he brought up something very, very interesting. He was talking about the idea of how to be happier. All right, I'm going to read that question again because that question is super, super important. The question of the happiness movement is that how can we be happier? And the difference that makes in questioning is that by asking the question, how can I be happier? It is making a statement with our inner self that we are already happy. We are simply trying to be happier. And that is the ultimate questioning. Very, very powerful, right? Because let's think back to Jack question in the beginning, how can I lose weight? All right. Let's analyze that question a little bit further. Why is it negative? Why is it even more negative? Okay. So we're asking, how can I lose fat? Not only that is negative, it's also admitting to ourselves, our inner self, that first of all, we are fat. And second of all, we don't know how to get away from it. We don't know how to solve the problem. On the other hand, the questioning, how can I be fit, is solve the problem that is leaning more towards solution focus, right? Because now Jack is thinking about not just losing weight, but he wants to be healthy, right? So the end result that he gets is he become stronger and he have lost a lot of weight. But I also want you to look at that positive question a little bit deeper and see if we can improve from, we can make an improvement from that. All right. So the question, how can I be fit? It sounds like a very positive questioning, but when you truly analyze it, within the question, it is tell ourselves that we are not fit, we are not healthy, and we're trying to be fit, we try to be healthy. So deep down, you have already made the decision that you are not fit, that you are not healthy. Okay. So the best question to ask is, how can I be healthier? Right? Because when you asking how can I be healthier, you admit to yourself that you are already healthy and you are walking the path to be healthier. So if you can shift your perspective from the negative questioning, and there's the practice, this exercise that you can uh, do like right now or later after this presentation. If you can think about the person that you love the most, right? And you can write down like 5 things about them without thinking too much about it. You will be surprised how negative the questioning is in those, even though you love them a lot. For example, if I think of my father right now, he meant the world to me. He is very supportive. He is very caring. But when I think of him, I remember of the negative uh, experience that I have, like how he spanked me when I was younger. And he was probably right, most likely right. But it's the way that the brain works. We tend to lean more toward negativity because that is how we survive, right? The reptilian brain is the dominant factor. It's operating on fear. So by being conscious of this information, we learn to lean toward positivity. And the transformation principle help us that we can focus on positive questioning in a much deeper level, right? We are communicating with our inner self. And what I can hope to give you today is asking the question, how can you be happier? Borrowing from a quote from Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, right? And you can use that question for anything else. How can I be healthier? How can I make even more friends, right? How can I uh, do my job with ease? So the key here is utilize the word more into your positive questioning. And with that, I would like to just write the word more into the positive. Let's write this word more. And this is the key word right here. All right. More positive questioning, because more positive questioning will lead you to a more positive transformation. And I want to keep it to the very foundation of it. So I would like to open up for discussion now, and um, feel free to tell me what you think about this principle. And in today's meeting, I would love to connect the four principle together along with the sixth barrier, because as many of you have already realized this, even though you can apply it in everyday lives, everyday situation, you can also use these principles in a much deeper sense. For example, the activation of the human brain, it allows us to open up a doorway to, I guess you can call it your spirituality, right? And for the circle of knowledge principle, it let us know that we can access our unconsciousness. This can help us download information that we um, might have had deep within ourselves. And the principle of light, understanding the principle of light, we can be proactive, and we no longer have to wait for a problem to happen, right? We can start working on ourselves. We can bring light into the dark room, and we can stand above the four common problem, or the combination of problem that might comes up in our life. And by understanding all these four of these principles and actively or proactively working on ourselves, we will be able to experience life in a much better, in a much more pleasant way. Just like what Jack did, right? He make a conscious decision to work on himself, to materialize a healthier body, and his life changed greatly. So you can use the same principle of transformation to all four of the big category of the inner self, health, relationship, and finance. And with that, I would like to open up for questioning. Feel free to share your I am if you have something that you want to discuss. Feel free to raise your hand, because this is the important part of the presentation, and not just the presentation itself. All right, I can see Jasmine raise her hand. Feel free to unmute yourself. Thanks, Jasmine.
Hi, Ben. Hi, everyone. I thank you for you to share this presentation and writing down the way you write. because usually when I share this information, I will start from the bottom up, and when you roll out the like transformation first, and then you slowly go to the bottom, it's up and up the picture for a lot of people, especially like people will question why and how can they transform themselves, you know. And so I I may try to share this principle the same way that you do next time, just so I can experience how people interact with this. And when I learned about this principle, I got a lot of question um, for like the questioning and the asking, because a lot of people was like, um, is questioning and asking is the same, and so it's really important to understand like questioning is very much that you just question for yourself, and you don't even raise question for yourself. You just like you saw something, and then you just feel like, okay, this is strange, but then you ignore it. uh, the questioning would become more clear to you when you question, like when that question would become like a bigger problem for you, and it's always appear in your life, until you start like asking verbally the question out loud, asking out loud, or you could like find the question through searching on the internet. That is also an action that you tap down the question, or you like ask yourself, but you have to raise the question um, from within, not just like seeing it and think it's strange, but never really bother to take it further action. So that's what my understanding about the questioning part and the asking part, and I often share that to people when people ask me those questions, like what would be the difference between questioning and asking. And then recently I have my AM part for the enlightenment, that when the enlightenment is what I feel like I know, but it's not really um enlightened yet. It's not really like a spark in me yet, but I know it's there. I know the information, I know it's there. I know what it is, but it's not really a spark in me until I have an aha moment, like you said earlier. I think you mentioned that. When I have the aha moment, suddenly that thing that I know, the thing that I know, is become my like knowing, like enlightened moment, and that is when I slipped between just knowing and really understand it. And when I really understand it, I will automatically transform myself. For example, that I don't take a lot of supplement in the past, because I don't understand why I have to take supplement, even though when I was in my 20, all of my friend in that 30 and 40-ish suggest me to take supplement, but I don't know why. Until I have my baby, and I take supplement because my friend gave me supplement, and I have to take like prenatal supplement and other kind of supplement. Um, and then until I like take supplement, and one day I forgot to take supplement. That is when I feel my body was not as strong as like other day, and I don't know why. And then that's the moment when I kept like question myself. And when I question myself, I start like asking people around, like and then I start asking myself too. When I ask myself like verbally and asking everybody, that is when I realize I have the aha moment that I forgot to take supplement on that day. And then because of that, now I understand the importance of supplement. And that is when I decide to live my life with, good mineral supplement and eating right. Of course, I have to eat and take supplement, and I have to exercise as well. So that is the moment when I train for myself, and I literally tell people to take supplement because I believe in it. So that take step, and that's what I realized recently. Thank you, Kim Quinn. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jasmine. That is a wonderful realization. And with the sharing of Jasmine, I would like to expand on this principle because, like I mentioned, all of this principle, even though it might look very, very simple, this is the very core of the human understanding. Okay. So just by using this one page, you can actually expand your understanding of the worldview as well. Because by asking the right question, you will make the right transformation. If you look back to the human history, right, when we figured out how to use fire, the diet of the humankind changed completely. And from a science book that I've read, like fire occurred naturally in nature, let's say through a wildfire. And I would imagine that us human live in pack, after the fire, we probably see some barbecue meat on the ground, and people would try to eat it, and it's probably is very delicious. So they learn how to use fire to stay warm, how to use fire to cook food. That changed our diet completely. And let's imagine back in the periods of hunting and gathering, right, to the agriculture. So probably one guy in the past has figured it out by asking the right question, right? If I was to go back in time, I would ask myself, you know what? Instead of go hunting, instead of go picking fruit and vegetable in the jungle, that is, might be very, very dangerous, right? I could just grow my own, let's say, a banana or a potato. And instead of hunting dangerous animal, I can just uh, build a farm, right? I can raise some chicken, some pork and beef, Then that asking question literally transform humanity. What about in the revolution, right? In the I forgot what it called, but when we invented the machine that run by water, right, run by steam, and then we created train run by steam that literally transformed the industry, transformed the world. And when Tesla asked the right question about electricity and how to apply electricity in today's world, the human world literally changed because one guy was asking the right question. And when I combine that with the third, uh, actually the second is from my previous season. When we combine that with the circle of knowledge, right? By asking the right question, we accessing the unconscious, that we downloaded the information that we might have forgotten a long times ago, and that transforms humanity. So these principles you can apply it in many, 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 many levels. And when you apply it correctly, you will transform your life. You will stand above any problem that arise. And I see Giovanni has been raising his hand for a while, so I'm just gonna stop here for now. And I'd love to hear what Giovanni has to say. Feel free to unmute
Hello.
yourself, Giovanni. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. Let me see if I can see. Can you allow me to share my screen, Ben?
Yes,
If
let me
possible?
give you co-host so that you can share your screen. All right,
See
all
if I can
right.
do
You
this.
can now share your screen.
Continue. And how do I pick which one? Here we go. Okay, so can you guys see that there?
Yes.
All right, so this is what I drew after you were talking about everything here. So can you Let me see, I'm trying to make sure I have this on my screen too. Okay. So first to Jasmine's point, the difference between asking is and questioning, I think definitely asking is the first step. That's just for us to know how to do something. Questioning puts us on a path towards like a journey, like a quest. But it's in there, right? It's in the word itself. So that leads us to know why we're doing something. And I think that's the biggest difference between the two. What I did is I took the circle here and I made the circle as enlightenment because I just think light is the first principle. Light is everything, so everything falls within inside of that circle of light. So starting from, let's say, the triangle, which is ourself, this is how we get to know who we are. Through science, we can treat ourselves as a science experiment by asking questions. And then when you seek through science, asking, what you get is understanding. So I put understanding on the right side of the asking square there. And then philosophy and science, both you have to question. You have to go a little bit deeper in order to use knowledge, and then make it into like a practical application as well. And then for philosophy, what you get out of asking and questioning is you get an awareness. And this awareness is integral in the whole process because it basically involves shifts in our belief system, in our attitudes, and our behaviors about, our material world and immaterial world as well. And when we ask in the form of spirituality, what we get is transformation. And then from that transformation, basically, our whole object is to go back to ourself, to know that we are light, and that is by going within, using our experience without to make sense of what's going on within us. So I kind of thought that was kind of interesting how everything kind of played in my mind as a circle, a square, and a triangle. And how we can put everything here into play. So I appreciate that.
That is powerful. And I love how you are able to just connect everything together, and you even brought up the ideas of being aware of things, because that is what it is all about. Because there is a large part in our unconsciousness that we often haven't tapped into. And I'm sure many of you familiar with the quote saying of how we are only using about 10% of our brain power. And in happiness study, we learn about the plasticity of the brain and creating the neural pathway to new area. And I'm very careful about using my word because I want to connect that to the principle of the circle of knowledge. Okay. So by asking, questioning, reaching enlightenment, understanding, and transformation, or put it together, become aware of things that we have not aware before, relating this to the invention of fire, the invention of agriculture, and many, many other things. We can see that us humans starting to build the neural pathway to knowledge that we wasn't aware in the past, namely how to use fire, how to use water, how to use electricity. And the four principles tell us a way to do that, right? Asking the right questions, using the spiral of knowledge to expand our understanding, and connecting that to the activate human brain by having new lesson, deep understanding, and reach enlightenment, right? So all of these are interconnected, and we will explore even further, because this journey, it is about understanding your inner self. And to be very honest with you, we haven't even tapped into the inner self. It is just the principle that govern the universe, and how we can connect this principle to stand above any problem that arise in our life, so we won't be too busy worrying about the next payment in your house, or the next meal that we put on table, or about our health. We can be very conscious about our human experience, and we will be able to experience our life the best way possible. And I also see Victoria that raised her hand here. Feel free to unmute yourself, Victoria.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone, for your comments as well. So, yeah, I found this topic transformation is amazing and very interesting. So this is my a couple of comments. So for me, I think that everyone's one. I want to put this in this way. So that is maybe for me it's easier to follow, is that I think that everyone, starting from the point that everyone wants to make positive change in life. So everyone, like for example, want to feel having some purpose in life, some meaning in their life. They want to have a fit body. They want to have a good relationship. We want to have a lot of knowledge. We want to have a positive emotion and positive experience. So that is everyone want. Basically, we all want after happiness. But the thing is, we have a lot of I would say a lot of obstacles in our life that prevents us from achieve what we want and make positive change in life. So your Ben's map, starting from asking, questioning, enlightening, understanding, transformation, is a clear and easy map to help us to affect our positive change in our life. But I would like to add two more things based on Tan's teaching on the 3 E's. I don't remember exactly where it is in the teaching, but actually it's 3E principle, means that there's an event, there's a feeling, and there's 3E means the first E is event, the second E is emotion, and the last E is evaluation, or vice versa, event, emotion, and evaluation. So each trigger, like for example, we want to, we want to lose weight. If we have a problem of weight, clearly we see that is a problem, but maybe we are not aware of how it impacts our life. So until there's an event, like for example, our girlfriend or boyfriend leave us, we suffer, we experience some suffering event in our life. So because of this event, then we feel very bad. We feel okay, because maybe if I'm slimmer, she would have not left me, something like that. So this trigger our feeling, and because we feel that something wrong, then we need to fix the problem. And then we go to ask the question, okay, so what is the problem now? At first, we just questioning in general. We say, okay, because maybe she's leaving me, I have a weight problem. But when we see a specialist, a personal trainer, he gives us an advice saying, okay, not only is your weight is your problem, but it's because it impacts your health, your own well-being. So at that time, we maybe realize that, okay, that is because I have a lot of weight, but not necessarily the weight, but because of the fat that I'm carrying. Then we start questioning, then, okay, that is the fat that affect my well-being. Then I will need to lose the fat. So the what Wang mentioned is what the difference between questioning and asking. Question is very, very interesting, because questioning is we just question about something very general. Maybe we question about our way, why our girlfriend is leaving us, something like that. But then we end up having a more specific question that address our specific concern. The real problem here. The real problem here is we having a lot of fat. And if we're having a lot of fat, that may affect our health seriously. So we start thinking about that. And because we ask question and with the help of us expertise, then we come to realize that, okay, I have to lose the bad fat in my body, the bad fat, not all the fat, but the bad fat in my body. So here comes the enlightenment. Enlightenment for me, here, it means that it's a clarity. Clarity means that we see reality as it is. Okay, here is not the problem of my girlfriend leaving me. Maybe that is a indirect problem. But the most serious problem that is really directly affecting me now, my well-being and my happiness, is my bad fat, and I have to work on that. That is the reality. And because of the reality, and we understand the relationship beyond the reality and what we really want. We want to be, first, we need to want to healthy, we need to lose bad fat, and because we're healthy, we have more motivation, we become better, and then we can attract more partners, more interesting partner, then something like that. Then we go through the transformation, and then we commit ourselves to the gym. We go to the gym and we do exercise daily, and maybe do some change in relation to our diet. So that is the process is from the event to transformation is something that I find really meaningful and interesting, and something that everyone can think about it and then apply to our personal problems. Because the most important thing is here is not we just discuss in terms of philosophy or what is right or what is wrong, but here is we try to find a practical method to improve our life, to bring more happiness into our life and into others' life. That's what Tan always mentioned in his teaching and in his meditation. So that is the first point I would like to mention. It's the same for taking supplement, and I really like one story sharing about taking supplement when the event is maybe she knows that everyone take supplement, but it doesn't affect her until she has personal experience of having a baby. And she aware of, okay, I'm a mom, I'm where I would like to make it, not even myself, but most importantly is my baby to be healthy. Then I have to take supplement. So that from the events, feeling, questioning, come to enlightenment, decision making, and transformation like that. And I also like Giovanni's map about connecting different points about the triangle. Really like it because we need to have philosophy, we have enlightenment, and we also need to apply in our life so that it becomes deeper and it becomes something that is our own experience, not someone else's experience. This is my own experience. Because why? Because that is spirituality. Spirituality is our own experience, our own growth, and our own happiness. Others' advice, input is just for reference that affect us. But we really need to internalize this knowledge, and we need to relate it with our experience, put it in practice, live it, and gain some experience. And then from there, we can share with others, and then we can bring more happiness into our life and others' life. Another point I would like to make through the event of 3E is that the thing is, some people, at some time, I may just have an event. For example, my problem is exercise. I'm a lazy person. I don't exercise much. Although I know that I need to do exercise because it's good for my health. That in principle, I know that I'm aware of that. I want to do exercise, but I don't do it. I just questioning, I asking, but I don't do it because I haven't realized the pain that not exercising having on me. So one day I just keep lazying, and then one day I get sick. I feel very, very unhealthy, and got my immunity just decreased. And for over a few months, my immunity keep decreasing because I was like focusing too much on reading and my intellectual ability, but neglecting my physical exercise. And then I bear the consequence. That is, I got sickness. And because of that, I cannot just make a verbal determination, but it's a heartfelt determination that if I don't want to get sick, I want my immunity to increase, I need to do exercise more like I used to do. And that improves my health. So that is something that I say that experience, personal experience, is very important. Whatever we talk about philosophy or theory, because everything come back to the same thing. But what is really matter is we need to put it into our personal life so that we can see the fruit of that medicine so that we can share with others. That is my sharing. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Victoria. I love how you connected to what we learned in happiness study as well on the three E's: event, emotion, and evaluation. And this is one of a very, very great technique from psychology where we can analyze a situation and we can find solution through it. And I love how this three E mentioned about making an observation of our emotions so that we can analyze our thought and our character. And we are going to explore in a much deeper detail on this idea next week. Next week we will explore the three reference system, starting with the root formula. And I think you will like that a lot. But I love what you are saying, and I love how well you are able to connect all of the dot together to reach that positive transformation. Thank you so much for your sharing. And I also see Whitney has been raising her hand for a while, so I would like to invite Whitney to share real quick before we go into further discussion. Hello, Whitney.
Hello, how are you?
Very, very good. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. So it took me a while to absorb everything and try and connect the dots since I missed last week. Is this okay? I'm just making sure it's working. My computer's been wacky again, so that's why I had my camera up. But I love all of this, and I love that Victoria just brought in the three E's because I like the way that that dovetails. One of the things that came up for me earlier that I wanted to tie in is appreciative inquiry, because I feel like with asking and questioning, even the questioning sounds more like inquiry, like contemplation, and it so dovetails with David Cooperrider's work and the importance of positive questions and how words create worlds. And I had some notes from some of the other reading that I've done on appreciative inquiry that I thought were very relevant because they sort of speak to what you've been talking about with going like to our understanding of ourselves. And so I'm going to read three of my highlights. One is that once you accept the vision is possible, then you begin shifting your priorities. And so that's like when you're talking about that positive question and not just saying I want to be fit, but I want to be healthier and not don't sit too close to the screen, but like, you know, protect your eyes, you know, all of those variations. You're already, as soon as you say it, you're influencing the direction that things go because our attention directs where we go. There's this great story that I've heard about how, like, if you're whitewater rafting, you don't say, stay away from the rocks, because as soon as you say that, then people are going to be steering towards the rocks. It's just human nature. So you want to highlight what you actually want and where you want to go. And then another thing is act each day in a manner that is consistent with the dream and the desired direction. And so I, like Jasmine was saying, I like how you begin with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey, like classic transformation. As soon as you start with that, and just in your presentation, we're already thinking that's where we want to go. That's the goal. And if we put our actions behind that, that's very important, not just thinking it. And then finally, the biggest thing I think is the more that you can feel what it is you want, especially with positive feelings about yourself and what you would like to achieve, then the faster it manifests. And that's all from appreciative inquiry. And it sounds very woo-woo, but it's not. And then the one tweak I would say is that, like, the one thing with when you're saying like, oh, I want to be healthier, you do have to have it, and Tal Ben Shahar talks about this, with grounded positivity. So if you don't think you're healthy at all, you can't really say, I want to be healthier. So you have to think of something that's like a baby step for you. You have to believe in that. And I think generally most people are going to believe that they're healthy somewhat, but you can't say like, I, win $1 million tomorrow if you barely have any money in your bank account today. Just grounding it is important. But I like it all. Those were my highlights.
Awesome. Thanks, Whitney. And we are very lucky to have Whitney and Giovanni join us on this journey, everyone, because just like the triangle of reality that we shared yesterday on philosophy and spirituality and science. So in this way, I kind of like presenting the philosophy, the idea behind it, and Giovanni always able to connect deeply with the spirituality part. And then, of course, Whitney came in with her research study and throw in name and principle around to make sure we are grounded so that we can reach that transformation in a timely manner. And I appreciate you guys so much. And this journey, it is very, very, very special to me. So just like what Whitney said, you have to be grounded. You have to know where you are in order to grow. So later on, if you are taking the happiness study, whether it is the certificate or the MA program, you will get to learn about flow. And flow is about peak performance. And there's one thing that I learned about flow that I found fascinating is that in order to get into flow, you have to perform a task that is not too easy for you, but at the same time, it is not too difficult. Because if it is too easy, you don't, it doesn't excite you. And if it's too hard, then it will be too hard and you kind of give up before you even start. So being grounded, being like knowing where you are and push just a little bit harder so that you can get into that peak performance that will help you get to the transformation much better. And that is why we kind of have to take like baby step, the journey of 1,000 miles start with the single first step. And this is where we are at. At the same time, I just want to point out that these principles extremely, extremely powerful. If you can just get something from this journey, I would hope that you will be able to connect the dot of these 4 principles, and you will be able to be more proactive and stand above any problem that might arise in life. And yeah, and just before we end, if anyone have any question or anything that you would like to share, feel free to raise your hand. And while you are at it, I just want to quickly recall and connect back all 4 of the principle, because these are the foundation for us to continue in our journey next week to the 3 reference system, which are the 3 very important reference system that we are going to use to view anything in this life, anything related to worldview, human view, and even cosmos view. All right. So just to start off, we started with the principle of light to tell us that, what, instead of trying to get darkness out of the room, we can just simply bring light into the room. Instead of waiting for problem to occur and trying to solve problem where the problem will continue to happen one after another, we can simply bring light into the room. And that is it. We are done. Just like the story of Jack, right? Instead of trying to lose weight, he made the conscious decision to be healthier, and he became the fittest he ever been. So not only he have lost his fat, he have a nicer body, he have higher energy, he was able to do more stuff. And then because he had a very strong body, he was less likely to be sick. So just one light that he lit up in his dark room, he was able to take care of many problems related to health. He was able to be more proactive. So similarly, if we can do similar thing to our inner self, to our relationship, to our finance, this life will be beautiful. So the principle of life tell us to, hey, you know what? In this life, you can just simply lit up your dark room and everything will be just fine. And this is extremely important because many of us, we don't even know what darkness is, right? We don't even know what our problem might have been until it show up. And many times over when it show up, it might have been too late. Like the story of my grandmother, for example, she had lung cancer before she passed away. But at the same time, she had a great life. She lived a very good life until 83, 84 years old, and she went very quickly, very peacefully, with the support of the modern medication. So there are many problems that we might not aware of until it showed up, and sometimes when it shows up, it might have been already too late. So by applying the principle of light and lit up the candle in our dark room right at this moment, we will be able to stand above many problems that eventually will arise in life. And this principle of light is the very founding principle for us to pretty much take back control of our life. And secondly, we have the circle of knowledge is introduced to us that there are knowledge of the world that we might not even aware of, and we have access to it. And don't ask me why, don't ask me how, but for over thousands and thousands of years, many a great thinker, they are speaking of the same thing, and it's dating back to 2,500 years ago. The Buddha has mentioned about it, Lao Tzu has mentioned about it, even Plato. One of his famous quote that I still remember until this day, he said that we don't learn anything new. Everything that we are learning, we have already known. We simply relearning what we have already known. And it's kind of point us to the direction of how in scientific research, right? The researcher, they have already know their theory to be true, and they attempt to prove it. And sometimes they couldn't find a way to prove it, but somehow that principle is still hold true in certain area. So there are knowledge, right? There are many inventions that us human have invented, and the truth is we probably only reinvented the wheel. Probably heard the expression, it's already existed. We simply reinvented it. And I'm saying this with confidence because there are technology in the world that we couldn't even understand, like from the past that we couldn't even understand, like the construction of the pyramid in Egypt, right? We still don't know how they were built, but someone had to build it. And when we compare all of the knowledge that we are having and we are learning, it has to come from somewhere. So the circle of knowledge let us know that the knowledge of the universe is vast, and we can connect to that knowledge, and we can see that in the activate of the human brain. We can see the development, the evolution or the revolution, however you want to call it, starting with the reptilian brain to the mammalian to the human brain. And it seems like we are going somewhere. We are making progress in something. And with the activation of the human brain, we learn how to activate it. We know how to actively find the lesson, deep understanding, and enlightenment. We learn how to be proactive, pretty much, right? Connecting the three principles together. We learn how to lit up our wisdom, our knowledge, our understanding. And through that, we will be able to expand our understanding. And last but not least, the transformation principle. It tells us that, it's very simple. Everything combining all of the principle together, and we get to the very basic of it. What we can do right now is being more conscious of our subconscious by asking the right question, by leaning toward positive question, even more positive, and to connect it with the principle of light. So imagine that you have a dark room, right? And you have a light. So I'm sure Vietnam has this technology as well, but in the US, in my house right now, there is a light. There's a switch that can increase the brightness of the light. Okay, or I can decrease the brightness of the light. So right now in our inner mind, there are subconsciously negative question, and what are we doing? We are switching, we are turning these negative questioning from negative to a more positive questioning. We are cultivating the seed inside of us. And I love how Giovanna already connected this way back in the principle of light, because when we bring light in, it will nurture that seed and it will grow into a beautiful flower. It will become fruition. So the principle of transformation tell us to do one very simple move, right? If you don't know how to do anything else, what we can do is we can flip the negative question to the positive one. And there's one exercise I mentioned earlier today that you can practice after this presentation or tomorrow. This will literally change your life, right? You can simply start by writing down 5 things you think about yourself. Let it come out very naturally. And then you can continuously write 5 things that come up to you when you think about your family, when you think about your community. And when you write down, after you wrote it down, after you write it down, you can go back and look at what you wrote down, and you will be able to see the questioning that you write down. You will be able to see if it is negative, if it is positive, and then you can flip it. You can change it into a more positive questioning, and give it some time. You will see a very positive transformation. So if is anything that you can take away from the past 5 weeks that we have been together, focus on this, and I'm sure your life will transform to the better. But if you want more, right, come back to this Zoom meeting every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we are starting to explore the inner self, because the inner self is the foundation of your path to a holistic life, to a holistic wealth. So starting next week, we are going to explore the inner self part, and I hope to see you for many weeks to come. And with that, I would like to end this conversation today. Thank you so much for being here. I know everyone have your plan and have your loved one that are waiting for them. And thank you so much for prioritize this meeting. And I have learned a lot from this, and I'm sure you have learned many things from this as well. So once again, thank you so much for your contribution, and I will see you next week. Of course, we will go out with a song. Thank you, everybody.